welcome Dr. Ananjit Goswamiji. He is going to talk to us about economics of tobacco control measures and impact of tax and price on the demand for tobacco products.
Thank you everyone. Thank you Sunilji. Thank you Raviji. Thank you Nanda Foundation. Thank you all of you. Thank you students. I know it's the end of the day. Almost all must be terribly bored by now. So what I'm going to do is that अच्छा अंग्रेजी में बोलते या हिंदी में? Mix का ज़माना है. सारे हम good sound नहीं करते, mix नहीं करते. तो what then I am going to do is that so these are some of the notes that I have been thinking about. जब मुझे बताया गया था कि यहाँ पे आप लोगों के साथ बातचीत करने के लिए I thought that instead of talking about this workspace in the policy advocacy that I mean for the last 22 years, I have traveled extensively to Europe, Africa, and have been part of several implementation projects. So I made a set of hypotheses. So the way I am going to now talk of is that I will present a hypothesis and then I will take you through some discussion points which are the reality check. Now the reality check point that I am going to point out, you can completely counter it, and that's what I want in the session. I want the session to be conversational. Okay? It should not that I will just speak out through, and I want each one of you to talk through your personal experiences. Because let me give you one narrative. I have a very interesting love and hate relationship with tobacco. So let me start with a personal story. When I was in class 2, I think it was 1988. No, not 1986. Yes, it was 1986. I was in class 2 at that point of time. So I used to go in a school bus, and every time when the school bus will stop outside the school gate, I will see there was a shop जहाँ पे गुटखा, cigarette, बीड़ी सब कुछ मिलता था. My mom was a philosophy professor, still is a professor. She never stopped me about asking questions when I was growing up. And that was the best part in her. And she answered every little curiosity that I had about everything that I was absorbing at that point. 80s if you see, 70s and 80s was a society. Let's think of India at that point of time. If you imagine, I don't know how many of you, how many of you were born, apart from the youth segment, you were born in which year? Generally the youth. Late 90s. So you don't know that time of 80s. So उस टाइम पे दूरदर्शन में सुबह करके सीरियल भी आता था. I don't know whether you remember that. Which was all about the drug abuse in the college and school going kids, because post 70s in the 80s India was suffering a lot of challenges where kids and college going students were a lot into drugs, cigarette smoking. Yeah. So when we understand this issue, my only appeal is that you also have to understand the politics of the society. One way is that you just study some theoretical disciplines, you put up certain issues, you come up with very glossy, easy, interesting suggestions. But trust me, in the space of social activism where I have been working for a long time now, in different, I have worked on gender rights, I have worked on child rights, I have been awarded by All India Human Rights Council. Those are my other activities. I have realized one thing which does not ever work is that when you deal with society and policies, it's a linearization. That's the first thing that we have to break up, because you are dealing with minds which are strategic. Be it a child, be it an adult, human brains are strategic, and by birth they are strategic. So coming back to the story, so I always used to see my class seniors who were in the same bus. So they were in class 5 or 6, and we all were watching the serial Subha at that point of time. So in the film, in the serial Subha, I still remember the name of the protagonist in the serial. His name was Farhad Gausikar or something. He did in Bollywood some films, but he never succeeded. So we all used to aspire to the way he used to hold the cigarette. So imagine the child imagination as a so the story that was coming on my mind, and the way it was not that the cigarette to a child's mind like me at class 2 was coming like, so how was I imagining cigarette in the hand of that protagonist? Okay, now we come back to the question of advertisement and popular culture also later in my discussion points. To me it was also a kind of well, I will tell you, I used to think that it is a kind of a thing which is good for everyone. A child necessarily does not start thinking about cigarette as a harmful substance, because a child mind is that point of time is still not corrupted by many other facets of the society. And I used to see my own seniors, they will flaunt with cigarette after the school bus, they will go 1 रुपए या उस टाइम तो 50 पैसे में भी मिलते थे, 25 पैसे 50 पैसे, तो हाथ में सिगरेट लेकर और फूंकते भी थे क्लास 6 क्लास 7 के. This was a pattern. I am telling you the truth. 80s, 80s में in Kolkata it was a fashion. Kolkata, you know, anyways, Bengalis are popular for smoking. But so when I was in class 2, I still remember the day. It was a day of in February. We had an exam. I silently went and had a puff. I was in class 2. So I asked one of my seniors in the school bus, okay, I am very curious, I want to learn about it, because that learning and curiosity has still stayed, but I have understood over the years, okay, where you should draw boundaries. So I puffed the cigarette, and for 10 minutes I started coughing. I came back to, and then everyone as usual was laughing, so there was also a stigma and taboo, so everyone started laughing onto me in the bus itself. Okay, dekho, ye to, he's not masculine enough. Okay, right. So that was the shuffling smile of the people. Okay, I was also a little feminine at that point of time. For a long time I was. So, but I felt a little humiliated. I went back. I told my mom, look, I tried out today Charms cigarette. Charms was because also a brand for us, because we grew up listening to the stories of Feluda. Where the detective Feluda, Byomkesh Bakshi, they all used to have charms, right? So you also have to understand when we think of cigarette, when we think of tobacco, it's not so simple. It's the root of these issues are very much ingrained to the much more complex realities of life. I went back. I told my mom. So she saw I was very humiliated. She asked what happened. I said, yes, I today went with one of my senior and I just puffed, but it was terrible. From the next day onwards, the entire, so I went in that same bus till class 5. Every day it was a laughing score and discussion. So all my seniors will puff, and they were good kids, but they were still puffing secretly, right? And they were laughing at me. So I gradually felt humiliated, but then I understood, well, fine, because I was that shock of that smoke, the first smoke, had two different orientation in me. So think this way. That night I could have become a rebel. I would have thought, well, I have to prove. The society cannot trash my confidence like this. I can also prove that, well, I am also a man. I can also prove, because I was a child, I was unsure of everything, every possibilities at that point of time. The other option to me was that, no, well, I will not take that. Let me see what happens, and let me try to understand. I asked my mom. She said, okay, these are the pros and cons of cigarette smoking. So my question was, no, I think cigarette is good because Feluda smokes cigarette, because Byomkesh Bakshi smokes cigarette, and if they are smoking cigarette and solving the cases, which means I will become more intellectual, I will become more intelligent. So I should smoke cigarette, because those sketches of the children storybooks were having an impact on me. So later on, so this relationship with cigarette continued. I never had cigarette or any bill ever after that. But the humiliation continued. Then my dad was a chain smoker, and he was a chain smoker, and he died because of cigarette. He died because of actually excessive cigarette smoking, because he had a septicemic lungs, which happened because of cigarette and tobacco essentially. And I saw, so it was a life journey that I saw what tobacco can do to a human being. And my dad was my closest friend. So for me, tobacco, all these are just not mere words. What I am saying. For me, it is a kind of an experience. It's every day, every second, every hour. I can talk about tobacco, what tobacco does, what has happened with tobacco, and why I have never taken tobacco. And I think it is this complex layer of tobacco in our human life. That's what needs to come in a policy framing. It's just that simple. And well, I am also against tobacco. I'm making that statement, but I'm saying that linearization of policies is not going to reduce tobacco. I mean, even today, many of my friends, they never left tobacco. In spite of, they all know why they are doing it. It's not so simple. It's because human mind just does not work in such linear fashions. Human mind does not work linear to a policy signal. We have to, time has come, therefore, we have to make things more non-linear when we deal with the space of alcohol or tobacco consumption. Now let me therefore come to few hypotheses, because the title is Economics of Tobacco Consumption, though I don't like to use the word economics, because I think the word economics is a little reductionist, because a space like tobacco consumption is also about the politics of tobacco consumption. Every person who smokes has his or her or theirs or she's own politics why the person is consuming the tobacco, and it is a well thought out decision that is happening. So we need to get to the layers of human psychology. Let me first give this hypothesis. So this is a very well known hypothesis that generally in the tobacco policy making space people will be talking that if regardless of the health consequences, tobacco is crucial to a nation's and region's economic growth. So the pro-tobacco people will always give you this logic. And while I take you through this entire discussion points, you will also see I will self-contradict certain points. Because it's very important to self-contradict issues when you move on to a policy space. The context from where generally this debate comes is that, well, if you tax the sector, jobs will be lost, incomes will fall, tax revenues will plummet, and trade surpluses which were coming, there will be a direction of deficit. That's the larger logic of the people who are pro-tobacco. The question is, what are the incentives of an indigenous tobacco industry? What are the incentive structures by which, say, a tobacco industry in a certain country like India works? Are we clear about the incentive structures? What are the incentive structures by which each one of us in this room right now gets incentives to consume something for the first time in his or her in their life, to consume tobacco? And whatever I am saying also holds for alcohol, because I think the space has a lot of similarities because of the particular context of the good. And that's the question we need to ask. So therefore, discouraging adoption of tobacco control policies to decrease tobacco product consumption, does it actually happen? That's the question we need to ask. Then the other point, let me just give you a reflection. Globally, if you see, 33 million people farm tobacco, although many of them are part-time. Most people, I'm not now restricting only to India. Take the global picture. If you take the global picture, 33 million people who are in the tobacco production, I mean starting from the livelihood debate that we think of the supply side dynamics. Someone was mentioning that you are looking onto the supply side. But if you do a simple research of the last 20 years, you will see that half of the 33 million who are in the manufacturing, distribution, retailing, and another 10 million who are in the supplier segment or in the services segment of the tobacco industry. For instance, what are they? Say harvesting tools, cigarette papers, insurance coverage, transportation and shipping. The people, who are these people? Globally, these people are also not only involved in the tobacco industry, it's an offshoot work they are doing. So our interventions to change the system cannot just be wishy-washy. We have to be very pragmatic to know what is the reality of the sector. Most of these people are taking this as a side job. Take on USA. I will get to one point. Okay. Let me give you the point that I am trying to say. In United States, the 6 states which are called the tobacco bloc. Again, I am saying USA is a developed country experience, so don't take it sacrosanct. In an Indian context, the context can change. But just to give an example, the 6 states which are called the tobacco bloc in USA is perceived by many Americans to be heavily economically reliant on tobacco growing and manufacturing. But if you see the reality, in fact only 1.6% of the jobs in these 6 states are associated with the core tobacco sectors of the economy. It's just a side job they're doing. They are into many other things at the same time. So what does it show to you in reality? That the politics. Why I'm saying this point is that if you don't understand the politics of why the sector is prevailing, you cannot change the politics. To change the politics or to change the tobacco consumption, you have to change the narrative. And these narratives can only be changed when you know the hardcore facts of the sector. Because since you all are youth, my appeal to all of you is that look, the country can only change if you take the rule of this country in your hand. But don't get upset at me, but sometimes I really feel when I see the generation post 2000, well, I am also learning Instagram, reel making, I do very well, but I think we have become a schizophrenic society. And this I am making a statement in a very, very thoughtfully. And why I say that? If you study schizophrenia is just not Russell Crowe doing a beautiful mind and the way the projection you see. It's again a very nonsensical, popular culturist medium of showing schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is actually a 43 spectrum disorder. I will not like to use the word disorder. I think disorder is the wrong word. Schizophrenia is a state which is a spectrum of 43 spectrum which is in your mind. And each one of us right now who are in this room are a little schizophrenic. There's nothing wrong to be a little schizophrenic. What we need to see is that if you see the post 2000, the new schizophrenia is that. So फिल्म में क्या दिखाया जाता है? जो schizophrenic होता है, hallucinate करते हैं, isolated होते हैं, उनको ख्याली पुलाव हो रहा है, right? Very nonsensical, stupid way. It's completely rubbish. Even say if you want to get connected, आपके दोस्त ने आपको एक सोशल मीडिया नेटवर्क से हटा दिया, you're getting restless. आपके दोस्त ने आपको ब्लॉक कर दिया, you're getting restless. This is also high-end schizophrenia symptom. So the new 2000, and this I am not saying, read a book, What is Madness in the New Global Order by Daniel Lerner. It's a book of 200 years of psychological history of restlessness and what is happening, why people are consuming more alcohol, why people are consuming more tobacco. He is defining, you can check the book in the Google, in Amazon, What is Madness, the name of the book, by Daniel Lerner. So he is clearly showing post 70s, 80s, the new schizophrenia which has set in the youth is that if you are not aligned to a social network, you feel you have missed out something. The question is why? So in the largest drug capital is not only tobacco and alcohol anymore. The seduction of consumption is coming also through this schizophrenic information that is creating a set of change in the hormones in your body, and that is pushing you towards something. So we cannot study a discipline like this without understanding the social order, the social construct of the world. As I was saying, so for instance, in the US economy, these 6 blocks are being said, okay, well, we cannot take out the tobacco industry because these 6 blocks are going to suffer max. But that's the lie. That's the lie. Only 1.6% of the job is being generated by those 6 blocks. So then in US, why does it happen? Because of the law, because of the lobbies. And there are multiple law petition suits which I can say again and again. I have given a list of references. So if you want to see this, all what I am saying is a basis of a literature. So I've given at the end of the day. So the other logic which you will see generally people who are not, who are anti against this policy of reducing tobacco consumption is that अगर आप ये हटा देंगे, बंद कर देंगे तो आपका एक्सपेंडिचर इंड्यूस्ड इकोनॉमी बंद हो जाएगा. मतलब आपने टोबैको खरीदा तो उससे किसी लोगों का जुगाड़ हुआ, रोजगार हुआ, उस रुपए से उसने और कुछ गुड्स और सर्विस खरीदे, तो ऐसे इकोनॉमी में एक मल्टीप्लायर जनरेट हुआ खरीदने बेचने का, राइट. तो अगर आप टोबैको सडनली ऐसे बैन कर रहे तो ये खरीदने बेचने में आप इम्पैक्ट कर रहे हैं, तो एक्सपेंडिचर इंड्यूस्ड जो इनकम है तो आपका कम हो रहा है, तो इससे कंट्री आपका एक इकोनॉमिक डिप्रेशन में जा सकता है. अगेन अ नॉनसेंसिकल थिंग. इफ यू स्टडी लिटरेचर, इफ यू स्टडी डेटा, इफ यू आर लिटिल साइंटिफिक, यू विल सी. सोचिए मैंने जिंदगी में क्लास 2 के बाद से कभी सिगरेट नहीं पिया, एंड आई एम सेइंग दैट बिकॉज़ आई हैव नेवर टच सिगरेट. मैंने जो रुपए बचा उस रुपए से मैंने क्या किया? इसका मतलब तो ये नहीं कि वो रुपए तो हवा में नहीं जा सकता ना. वो रुपए कहाँ, किसी ना किसी जगह जाएगा. मैंने क्या किया, मैंने उस रुपए से अच्छा कुछ अच्छे म्यूजिक मैंने उस रुपए से बचा के कोई अच्छी किताब खरीदे, उस रुपए को बचा के मैं कुछ मूवीज देखने गया, मैं उस रुपए को बचा के 5 लोगों को बिठा के खाना खिलाया. That's a social welfare choice. That's a social welfare choice. And there comes the question of, I think the question of morality and ethics also needs to be thought through, because these words are something also we use very loosely. You know, no society can be moral. Let's face it. The moment you are born in the womb of your, when I was born in the womb of my mom, I was born immoral. And this is not, I am saying, it's a genetic constitution that you have immorality in your genes. It's a human gene. The question is how ethically you are bound. So, if I take an example of Mahabharata, someone gave an example of Mahabharata. You have heard of Bikarna. Bikarna. Who was Bikarna? Why Bikarna is being known? You know what Bikarna did in Mahabharata? Why Bikarna's name is popular? What did Bikarna do? Who was Bikarna in Mahabharata? Let me know. Karna is not Bikarna. Bikarna was the 99th brother of Duryodhana. The N-1 brother. Why is he important? Let me see how many of you read Indian mythology and why is he important in the context of Mahabharata. When Draupadi was being raped in front of everyone, he was the only brother who had the guts and the courage when all the so-called wise people were silent and were standing or silent because of certain things. Yeah, it was an immoral act, right? The act was immoral. Bikarna was sitting with Duryodhana on Duryodhana's side. He got up and he had protested. And he was the only brother who was thrown out by Duryodhana that day, out of the Sabha. Here comes the question of ethics. When all the people, and look on to the other counterpart. Why did Karna join Duryodhana? He knew he is on the side of immorality, but he was ethically correct. So when you think of consumption, reducing alcohol, reducing tobacco, we have to get into a deep philosophical thought. I think because then only policies will work. You have to think of policies which ethically bound you somewhere. Because if you think of, okay, ye morality hai, ye immorality hai, well, why will the youth listen? Why will my students listen to me? Who am I to judge their morality and immorality? Who gives me the yardstick to decide what have we done for them? What examples we have set for them? Well, I had also smoked once when I was in class 2. I did an immoral act. Who am I to set up a morals benchmark for my student? I can set up a corrective ethical standard for them. So that, and we are not here to do a moral picture of our students. And this is what I always say. And I personally get very much engaged with my students. Madhav is aware of that. I ask them every day, "Aaj kaisa lag raha hai? Khush to hai?" Because for me, classroom is not only about some books. That's my 17-18 years of teaching in different universities, and I think books and curriculum somewhere has destroyed the system. I'm very hopeful that new education policy will change something. Let's wish which जो 1986 में हो जाना चाहिए था वो इतने साल लगे. But anyways, so this expenditure-induced point is also very farcical. That's other point that the anti-tobacco people will say, which is again a nonsensical logic. The anti-tobacco people who will say, नहीं tobacco industry रहना चाहिए, कि transition effects बढ़ जाएगा economy में. तो जो लोग टोबैको में थे, आप उनको रीस्किल कैसे करेंगे? उनको किस जगह पे आप एब्जॉर्ब करेंगे? समाज का क्या होगा? इतने लोगों का इतने जगह पे रोजगार बना था. क्या डिक्लाइन कंजम्पशन, टोबैको कंजम्पशन डिक्लाइन होने की वजह से रिसोर्स डिपेंडेंसी क्या होगा? इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मैं नेक्स्ट वाला जो पॉइंट बता रहा हूँ, आप रिसोर्स डिपेंडेंट कंट्रीज को देखिए. जैसे जिम्बाब्वे का 23% ऑफ अर्निंग टोबैको से आता है. वी हैव अ मॉरल एंड एथिकल क्वेश्चन. अगर आप जिम्बाब्वे के लिए इमीडिएटली कल से आप मैं इसलिए ये सब बात बता रहा हूँ, चीजें इतनी सिंपल नहीं है रियलिटी. आप जिम्बाब्वे में कल से लागू कर दीजिए, बिकॉज मैं खुद रहा हूँ अफ्रीका में बहुत साल, मेरे बहुत सारे दोस्त थे, मैं वहाँ गाँव में गया हूँ, सीन द कल्चर. आप आज डिसाइड कीजिए कि मैं कल से जिम्बाब्वे में एक्सपोर्ट बंद कर दूंगा, टोबैको एक्सपोर्ट जिम्बाब्वे से बंद कर दूंगा. वैसे वो देश में 250% इन्फ्लेशन है. लोगों को पता है वहाँ टोबैको खराब है, वो लोग किसी भी जगह नहीं रहेंगे। क्यों नहीं रहेंगे? क्योंकि उसका इकोनॉमी मुगाबे के टाइम पे ऐसा हो गया है कि वो मोर देन 200% डिपेंडेंस है उस पे ऊपर। आपको जो पॉलिसी फिर सोचना पड़ेगा जिम्बाब्वे के लिए या मलावी के लिए, वो इंडिया के लिए डिफरेंट होगा। So when we think of a global framework or a regional framework or the context is very important. So transition effects of resource dependent countries जो मैं बता रहा हूँ, जिम्बाब्वे 23% उनका एक्सपोर्ट के ऊपर डिपेंडेंसी है और जो टोबैको से आ रहा है, that is a question. So for these countries the logic holds, but definitely not for India. आप अगर चाइना, ब्राजील, इंडिया के केस देखेंगे, हमारा जो लार्ज पॉपुलेशन इंडिजिनस जो टोबैको इंडस्ट्री है, स्मोकिंग नॉन स्मोकिंग का मैं पेपर पढ़ रहा था, जब हमारा 30 करोड़ में से 20 करोड़ जो है 20 करोड़ स्मोकलेस मतलब पान गुटखा, उसमें 10 करोड़ स्मोकिंग वाला उसमें है। सो द क्वेश्चन इज इन इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट द सिचुएशन इज कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट। इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में है कि कौन लोग है जो ये पी रहे और जो सिगरेट स्मोक कर रहे हैं, पान गुटखा ले रहे हैं, क्यों ले रहे हैं? एडवर्टाइजमेंट उस सब में मैं बाद में जा रहा हूँ, कॉन्टेक्स्ट समझना पड़ेगा। ये लोग क्यों, जब बिहार में एक टाइम पे मैं मेरे पीएचडी के तहत 6 गांव में, बहुत ही बिछड़े हुए गांव था, 6 विलेजेस, ताराबड़ी करके एक गांव था पूर्णिया डिस्ट्रिक्ट में मोस्टली। सो आई हैड, यू नो पूर्णिया डिस्ट्रिक्ट में ताराबड़ी विलेज, सो आई हैड टू स्टे ओवर देयर फॉर 2 to 3 years and I saw over there even so there are musharrats also over there. Musharrats, you know, Musharrats, who are the Musharrats? Who are the Musharrats in India? The youth should know this country, right? Who are the Musharrats of this country? Musharrats कौन है? आपके समाज नहीं, आप लोग नहीं बोलेंगे, यूथ को बोलना पड़ेगा। नहीं, ये यूथ को आगे लेना है। मुशर्रफ कौन है हमारे देश में? समाज आईआईसी में बंद नहीं होता है ना। Who are the Musharrafs? So even some of the Musharrafs were going. Musharrafs कौन है बता दीजिए। हाँ, वो कम्युनिटी का पोजीशन कास्ट लेयर में क्या है?
सबसे नीचे की आती है मोस्ट में जो अगर जिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में जहाँ की कल्चर की बात करें वहाँ वो पैर धोने के बाद उनको साफ करने के लिए वो जो पानी लगा है उसको साफ करने में आते हैं।
तो अगर
उनका नाम मुशर्रफ
होता है,
मुशर्रफ क्यों है?
क्योंकि वो चूहा खाता है।
एग्जैक्टली। तो सोचो
अभी खाते हैं,
अभी भी खाते नहीं, अभी भी खाते हैं। जय भीम देखे हैं ना, जय भीम जो मूवी रिलीज हुआ, वहाँ पे ट्राइबल्स देखा है कितने इजीली सांप को पकड़ रहे थे, कितने इजीली। तो अब उस कम्युनिटी में देखेंगे बीड़ी कंजम्पशन सबसे ज्यादा है। द क्वेश्चन इज कि हम तो ये लोग बीड़ी क्यों अभी भी बीड़ी क्यों पी रहे हैं? खाना बोलना नीचे बंगालियों में खाना आ जाता है तो सॉरी बोलता है। द पॉइंट इज के अगर बिहार के उस जगह पे जाएंगे या तमिलनाडु में या आंध्र में जाएंगे, इस ट्राइबल्स के साथ रहेंगे, वहाँ बीड़ी बहुत ज्यादा है अभी भी। इवन द ट्राइबल वुमेन दे आल्सो स्मोक बीड़ी। बट आप बंगाल के ट्राइबल्स में जाइए, वहाँ महुआ पीते हैं। वहाँ अगर नशा करना होता है वहाँ महुआ पिएंगे।
महुआ
तो हाँ, उसको पेड़
बनाया जाता है।
तो मैं समाज के एक सेगमेंट को ले रहा हूँ, तो आपके पॉलिसी समाज के उस सेगमेंट के कंजम्पशन को कम करने के लिए जो होगा वो से फॉर इंस्टेंस मानव रचना या आईआईसी या एमईटी के बच्चे के लिए वो पॉलिसी सेम नहीं हो सकता। So for instance, that's the point that I'm trying to say कि ट्रांजिशन इफेक्ट्स जब हम बोलेंगे, ट्रांजिशन इफेक्ट्स में हमें अपने देश के समाज के पॉलिटिक्स को समझना पड़ेगा। नहीं तो हम कोई भी पॉलिसी करेंगे तो ये सही नहीं हो सकता। इवन हैविंग सेड दैट, वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का एक एस्टिमेट है जो ये लास्ट पैरा में मैं बता रहा हूँ कि इंडिया का जनरली टोबैको कंज्यूमर्स का प्रेडिक्शन है 1.6 बिलियन हो जाएगा 2025 तक। So the question is, do we target the people or do we target the behavior or the incentive to consume tobacco? Do we create a policy or a framework which is relativistically targeting the people or targeting the intent from where the consumption incentive is coming? Or the cultural construct from where see for instance a tribal who is smoking a bidi many times does not have an incentive to, maybe bidi से मिल रहा है उसको, because the situation is such कि वो इतना डिस्ट्रेस में है फॉर डिफरेंट रीजंस, उसके लिए वो एस्केपिज्म है एक बीड़ी. द क्वेश्चन इज मच मोर ब्रूटल इन द इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट. सो उसके लिए मैं अगर ये एक सेंट्रल लेवल से पॉलिसी दे दूं, वो क्या रियली वो स्टॉप कर पाएगा? दैट्स द क्वेश्चन. क्योंकि उस समाज में वो क्या स्टॉप कर पाएगा वो बीड़ी कंज्यूम करना? उसके लिए ऑप्शंस क्या है? So this is what, and for that you also don't need to go to a tribal, go to the interiors of even UP. Go to, I mean, I have been working with a village, Badaun. For the last 2 years, in COVID के time, I had adopted 6 villages in UP. I just did out of my own passion. And some of my friends from JNU and we have been working. Just बहुत 200 किलोमीटर पास है आपके दिल्ली से. वहाँ अभी चले जाइए, वहाँ गांव में जितने भी गांव हैं, all the households, all the male households are TB patients. The women are struggling. टूथपेस्ट भी नहीं था कोविड के टाइम पे. टूथपेस्ट खा रहे थे, मैं खुद जाके देख के आया. टूथपेस्ट सुबह उठ के खाए. So this is your country. This reality you need to know when you understand your country, and when we think of, and my appeal to all of you as youth is that push yourself. Unless and until you experience certain things, you can never be a change agent. So having said that, next जो पॉइंट है, हम जो जिस पॉइंट में अभी जिस मुद्दे पे टिके हैं कि एक्साइज ड्यूटी और डिक्लाइनिंग कंजम्पशन ऑफ सिगरेट लीड्स टू डिक्लाइनिंग रेवेन्यूज. Absolutely, excise duty, I am also in favor of it. I am definitely in favor of raising this duty, raising the taxes. I think we should do that. But I think there has to be also a prioritization. In the sense, जब वर्ल्ड बैंक बोले थे कि हमारा टोटल टैक्स का, वर्ल्ड बैंक का एक एस्टिमेट आया था कि टोटल रिटेल प्राइस का टैक्स कंपोनेंट 75% तक होना चाहिए, एटलीस्ट फॉर टोबैको प्रोडक्ट्स. आप लोगों को पता है कि 2017 के बाद से क्या हुआ है, हमारा गुटखा कंजम्पशन बढ़ चुका है, तो वहाँ पे टैक्स का भी रिडक्शन हुआ है. दिस नंबर्स आर ऑल ओवर देयर. एक्चुअली 17 के बाद सिचुएशन और खराब हुआ है. ठीक है, वी आर अगेन गोइंग बैक टुवर्ड्स दैट 1980s सोसाइटी. So where I started from, I can see between the 90s and even the numbers are same. Till 2008 the society was different. 1994 के बाद से 2008 तक the consumption of tobacco in the youth segment had gone down. But now I can sense it. I can clearly feel that it is again reversing. और ये इस रिवर्सल को रोकने का बागडोर आपके हाथ में ही है. हम नहीं कर सकते. आप लोगों को इसको संभालना पड़ेगा. The point is therefore the tobacco industry can itself create a job. Many people say that अगर हम इस जॉब को छोड़ दे तो जॉब लॉस होगा. But in reality दूसरा पॉइंट भी सही है. एक्चुअली टोबैको इंडस्ट्री खुद ही जॉब को खा भी जाता है मेकेनाइजेशन के थ्रू से. आप आईटीसी के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग जिस जगह पे होता है विजिट कीजिए पूरा देश में. जाइए आंध्रा में जाइए, बिकॉज आई हैव डन फील्ड वर्क. फ्रॉम ऑल दोस फील्ड वर्क एक्सपीरियंसेस आई एम सेइंग. तो आप जाइए किसी भी आंध्र प्रदेश में जहाँ पे आईटी, वहाँ पे चिराला करके गांव है, उस गांव के पास आईटीसी के फार्म है जहाँ से टोबैको का वो प्रोक्योरमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग के थ्रू से होता है. आज के डेट में तो वैसे हालत बहुत खराब है. 2015-16 में भी अगर जाएंगे वहाँ देखेंगे कि जनरली मेकेनाइजेशन ऑफ प्रोडक्शन प्लांट्स हुए हैं. तो वैसे ही तो लोग फिर द इंडस्ट्री इटसेल्फ कैन किल द एंड क्रिएट जॉब लॉसेस. सो ये जो नैरेटिव कभी कभी चलता है कि आप इस इंडस्ट्री को बंद करेंगे तो जॉब लॉस होगा, दैट्स अगेन अ फॉल्स नैरेटिव. ये ग्लोबली प्रूवन है और ये एकदम ही फॉल्स नैरेटिव है. नेक्स्ट हाइपोथेसिस दैट आई वाज थिंकिंग, इसका मतलब क्या स्पेसिफिक टोबैको कंट्रोल पॉलिसीज विल कॉज सीवियर इकोनॉमिक हार्डशिप in specific non-tobacco industries. Okay, let me give you an example. पूरा यूरोप, स्वीडन में एक बहुत strong law आया. I'm getting late. I'm extremely sorry. I know I'm getting late. I will try to wrap it up fast. ठीक है? 4:30 तक है ना? 4:30 तक.
Just 5 minutes only.
मेरा तो 2 मिनट में ले रहा हूँ. आपका 4:30 तक है ना? मैं 1 मिनट में करूँगा. तो पूरा यूरोप में अगर आप जाएंगे, यूरोप में स्वीडन में एक बहुत बहस हुआ एक बार. There was a case which was fought. So one group, the pro-tobacco industry, made a legal petition कि अगर आप टोबैको इंडस्ट्री को बंद करेंगे स्वीडन में, तो जो नॉन टोबैको इंडस्ट्री, मतलब हम जो बोल रहे थे रेस्टोरेंट में फ्री में आप हुक्का सुट्टा मारने का जगह होता है, तो आप जैसे ही बंद कर देंगे वो धंधा कम हो जाएगा. तो मतलब हौस खास विलेज में, सोशल में लोग कम जाएंगे. यूथ विल गो लेस अगर हुक्का बंद कर देंगे. ठीक है, But again, this is again a completely again I am saying this is again a politics which has been fed to your mind. अगर आप स्वीडिश और यूरोपियन डेटा को स्टडी करेंगे, आप एक्चुअली देखेंगे, मैं हांगकांग का एक स्टडी बोल रहा हूँ, हांगकांग में एक स्टडी में बताया गया था कि फॉर ईच ऑफ दिस एडवर्टाइजमेंट और फॉर ईच ऑफ दैट बैनिंग, the non-tobacco industries are going to lose every day 1450 job every day. Ideally दिखा गया कि 50 जॉब लॉस हुआ था और 50 जॉब लॉस हुआ, बट जो 1400 जॉब लॉस नहीं हुआ और जो कितने लोगों की जिंदगी आपने बचाया, उसका टाइमलाइन इफेक्ट क्या है वो भी तो कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा ना. So again, this hypothesis also needs a reality check. I think these are very tricky issues which I wanted to go, but I think I will give this entire talking points to you all. I am already short of time. One last point that I will like to highlight is maybe this, the concept of advertisement and tobacco. And here the hypothesis again that I wanted to say that cigarette advertising and promotion have no effect on the amount of smoking. Generally, one school जो चाहते हैं कि, and you know which school will promote this. And finally, society is all about politics of different people. So we need to know what should be our path. Their only function and impact is to distribute the number of cigarettes sold among the rival companies. और एक hypothesis आप देखेंगे चलता है इस पूरा debate में, कि cigarette advertising and promotion constitute one of the principal determinants of smoking, especially initiation of smoking by children. And that's where I started the talk. जब मैं class 2 में था. So finally the point is, it is now psychologically proven, and innumerable studies of last 200 years, actually 47 के बाद से आपको पता है कि उसके पहले एडवर्टाइजमेंट में बोला जाता था कि यूएस ने ये पुश किया ना कि स्मोकिंग इज एक्चुअली गुड फॉर हेल्थ. यू मस्ट बी नोइंग द कॉन्स्पिरेसी दैट यूएस डिड ड्यूरिंग द वर्ल्ड वॉर टाइम. यूएस एक्चुअली इनिशिएटेड, मार्लबोरो इनिशिएटेड अ कैंपेन कि आप सिगरेट स्मोकिंग करेंगे तो वो स्वास्थ्य के लिए अच्छा है. Just after the First World War, imagine the dirty politics, and people started smoking with capitalism. Now again, the finally scientifically it has been proven कि नहीं, ये that was an advertisement gimmick, जो sponsored था by the US agencies because they wanted to outsource a market to certain part of the world. So next time, and always remember, मैं class 2 में बच गया था because I could resist that humiliation, and I had a mom who was sensible and who gave me that support. Next time when you pick up a cigarette or a hookah or a glass of drink more than 3 pegs or 4 pegs, I'm saying, see, I am not no one to do a moral policing के 30 ml मत पीजिए. I think that's how society will not change. Who am I? Because even sometimes I have broken the rules. I have had 30 ml sometimes myself wine in a socializing party in UN. So I cannot say that to you all. What I can say to you all, next time when you take anything more than 30 ml or 31st ml, think of this pinching points. And I think that's enough, because you have a right for the children, and that's the future. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.